the star in the silver wood. Alara lived in the whispering woods, where the leaves were made of soft velvet and the air always smelled like rain. She spent her days polishing the glowing mushrooms that lined her garden path. It was a quiet, solitary life, and Alara believed that being alone was the safest way to be happy. One evening, a streak of brilliant gold tore across the violet sky. With a sound like 1,000 chiming bells, a fallen star tumbled from the heavens and crashed into the clearing just beyond Alara's gate. She peeped through her window, her heart fluttering like a trapped moth at the sight of the smoldering light. Before Alara could decide whether to hide or help, a traveler named Spark bounded into the clearing. He carried a backpack full of clinking tools and wore a hat that sat slightly crooked on his head. He spotted the star and let out a whistle of pure wonder, his face lighting up with excitement. "It's far too heavy for just one person," Spark called out, noticing Alara's eyes watching from the cottage. "But if we work together, we can move it to the hilltop before its light fades away forever." Alara hesitated, then slowly stepped outside, her fingers nervously twisting the edge of her apron. Spark gripped one side of the jagged glowing star, his boot digging into the soft earth. Alara took a deep breath and grabbed the other side. They pulled and they heaved, their faces red with effort, but the star remained rooted in the moss, its light pulsing weakly like a tired heartbeat. "Wait," Alara whispered, an idea sparking in her mind. She hurried back to her garden and returned with her silver trowel and a length of sturdy, braided vine. Together they dug around the star's base and tied the vines into a harness that they could both pull at once. The work was exhausting, so they took a rest beneath a weeping willow. Spark shared a piece of sweet honey bread from his pack, and Alara shared a jar of cool dew water from her cellar. They sat in a comfortable silence, realizing that the forest didn't feel quite so vast when there was someone else sitting nearby. Suddenly, the sky turned a bruised, heavy purple. Thunder rumbled like a growling beast in the distance, and the first heavy drops of a cold rain began to fall. Spark stood up, looking at the dark clouds with a worried frown, knowing the star's fire could not survive a drenching. Spark held his wide-brimmed hat over Alara to keep her dry, while Alara draped her heavy velvet cloak over the star to shield it from the rain. They huddled close together in the downpour, protecting the star and each other as the storm lashed against the silver trees. When the rain finally stopped, the star began to hum a low, beautiful melody. It grew lighter and lighter, eventually lifting off the ground as the dawn broke through the clouds. Alara and Spark watched, their hands accidentally brushing against each other as the star sailed back into the morning mist. The clearing felt very quiet once the star was gone, and for a moment, Alara felt a familiar tug of loneliness. She looked at her garden and wondered if the silence would feel empty now that she had known the sound of her friend's voice. But Spark didn't turn to leave. Instead, he pointed toward the next valley and asked if she knew where to find the best moonberries. Alara smiled, finally understanding that while stars were a wonder to find, a friend was a treasure much better to keep.